time for the round table.
Women are doing a lot of great things in the world. Because why is it that as a culture we don't seem to appreciate women the way they should be?
Yeah, boss.
I think that in actual fact, why I object to the phrase feminist is I think that their feminineness is a strength. And I think that the idea that, put us all on the same, men, women, all the same, I think that it's being treated equally. That's the key point.
I used to say very aggressively, I think that part of the problem of the society is that women are not at home to teach their children and this and that. But as I've come to, appreciate more the aspirations of every human being, I realize that, what needs to be done is the extra work to ensure your family is fine.
Yes.
And so if you want to be managing director of a company as a woman, if you want to be a politician, whatever you want to do, just ensure that while you're living your life, the children you brought to this world for the first 18 years or whatever amount of formation years do not suffer. So if you need to sleep 2 hours to fulfill your goal, to achieve your own aspirations and reach the highest point of your career, and at the same time you must be able to get that same optimum result as a mother.
And that's with that same expectation obviously being placed on the man as well.
Exactly.
That exact same.
So I think sometimes the challenge with what is being placed on the man is that, so for example, I'm a typical type man. I want to pay my bills. I want to pay all the bills in the home. That's me. Because of men who do that, there is an almost tendency to expect that because you pay all the bills, you want a woman to support you in the conventional way. But things are changing. And so even though I want to pay the bills, I've learned that I still must allow my significant other fulfill her aspirations. I still must allow her, do all the things that she needs to do.
And I think that even falls onto the phrase of what you created. That's the extra work it takes for that family to flourish.
For the two of them.
Yeah.
And then the reason why societies, let's say the West, is because the wife and the husband pretty much, contribute, financially. Because that was it. Even in the beginning, the idea was the man goes to work, hard labor. But nobody does hard labor anymore. It's changed. Women are making billions. Ask the Nikeji on their bed in their homes. And so the idea initially was hard labor. And so when you go and do hard labor, she's at home helping. So when you come back, she's tending to you. Now, women are actually even going on the rigs and doing carpentry work. And then if I take you a bit further, even to the Bible, where us Christians get the formation of man as head, woman as support. In Genesis 1, I think 26, 28, when God first created heaven and earth, he said, let's make man, both male and female, to dominate over everything in the face of the earth. If you have teleprompter, you can pull it up as I'm speaking. It was later that he called her a helper, but that was in the family structure, in the dominion structure of life and aspiration, and using everything God has created for us, the herbs, the possibilities, the animals, the food. He said male and female to dominate over all of these things. And so there are two different statements. So if we begin to stop ourselves from taking our home business to the workplace, to society, and focus on what are we? We are all human beings. And the irony is that women are 50% of the population in Nigeria, if not even more. So what do you do if you take away leadership position, both in private sector and public sector, from 50% of your population? How do you even build a balanced society?
Okay. So, for me, the next thing I kind of want to touch on for me is linking to that idea, kind of what the male side of it is. Like you've said, okay, we're accepting that women want to work and do other things. That's important. But let's just look at the way culture is right now. So let's just look at it like this, right? So we're accepting that idea, and I think it's important because I do think that first off, like you said, we've come to a time and age where a lot of the time people are surviving on two income homes. Like you need both income to keep a home going. So for me, I want to move to the familial side of things, and therefore the responsibility of men in the household in order to ensure that a woman has the freedom to go and do that. Because one of the problems we have, especially with looking at the younger generations now, is that a lot of fathers, therefore, are not present as much in the home, and therefore influencing the way that the children are being brought up.
But the fathers have barely been present since time memorial.
Yeah.
So it has not changed.
So how do we change it?
It's men need to step up and take responsibility.
You know, first and foremost, I've always thought, and this is coming from somebody who's not married, is that the home situation is, in my mind, it is going to be how my wife and I see fit. And of course, that is going to evolve as kids come and our responsibility added. But we're going to create it in a way where it's like, all right, she has her goals and things she wants to achieve. I have my goals and things I want to achieve. So therefore, our setup is going to be customized and specific to us. It is not going to apply to my best friend Uche or my cousin Dolapo. But it's going to apply to us for us to survive and move our family forward in what we need to do. And it takes, of course, a couple that is willing to be present, both of them. So my point really is how do you create or dictate, you know, an ideology that everybody needs to comply with? Because at the end of the day, your home is your home. Yeah. You know, your home is not shared by another family.
I want to kind of bring our married person into this picture.
Right?
Like how does this feed into decisions? I think that I guess get made in the home, because obviously not just are you married and you look at that into the relationship that you have with your wife and how things work in the home, but also bringing up a daughter.
It's interesting that you should have mentioned daughter. I have a daughter, as you well know, and there are many. The father of the man is the child. If you want to understand my mindset, you look to my earlier days, because, you know, you grow with those. When my daughter speaks to me now, okay, I have to be on the ball, because, you know, it's something. Now, if her father has to be on the ball to deal with her, okay, I think I have already created or I've enabled the individual to be able to be herself within whatever thing she enters. Something I try, and she has a father and mother that provide the benefit of the experience. The problem with experience is you don't get it until you've got it. So, you know, you try and share it, but, you know, people older than me told me many things which much later on I could see the benefit of, but at the time I needed to get my fingers burnt. I think that education, when we educate our children, okay, there are very few of us that would. I look forward to my daughter having a professional career. I don't think she's being educated because it looks nice to have it after her name. I think she's being educated so she can have a more fulsome life. I think that you will find that things tend to happen incrementally. If you were having this conversation with my late father, you know, it would be totally different. Okay, having it with me is different. Having it with my daughter is different again. A lot of this is incremental. Okay, and you ask from a married person's view, what's yours? I think it's just educate your children. Yeah. If you educate your children, you can't pick and choose when you educate them. You can't educate them and say, don't take the bit that says that women have a right to reach the height of their something. Yeah. Take only these bits. So I think, like many other, issues in this country, education is very important.
Yeah. And then for me, like, another aspect of this is, so we've gone out. Everyone's been educated. Everyone is thriving to do the best version. Now we have to deal with men in terms of things like male ego. Because let's say you enter this position, now you're married. You've come up with, because I think a lot of men are raised with a sense of entitlement in terms of like, you're supposed to achieve this and do this and have this, and therefore you're entitled to be treated in this specific way. And I think especially in our culture, the way we treat men is different from the way we treat women, the way we talk to them. Immediately you're oga, but you can, like, if my mom goes for a walk, someone will greet her with respect. If my mom goes for a walk with my dad, they'll just greet my dad. And I think that is, we have a cultural thing where we entitle men in a certain way. So how do we deal with the male ego? Because let's say you've gone through this, you've been entitled, your mentality is entitled. Now you're married and your wife, because of her education, her level of ambition and her drive, is now more successful than you.
Yes.
I think one of the issues is, and I'll say this from the perspective of knowing a lot of guys who are in relationships or in situationships, they don't discuss these things. These are a lot of things that either are assumed, not spoken about, forgot for whatever reason. They don't bring it to the foreground, and the conversations are not. They don't carry the kind of weight that they should, and they don't carry they have to. They don't speak up about the things that are maybe genuinely important, or maybe don't even recognize what's important, and then they find out themselves in a situation where maybe they have a child together or they're married and they're figuring things out, and that male ego is clashing because they've not been able to reach any kind of common ground.
So, Uncle mentioned education. And, education is freedom. And the more men are educated on this issue and its global trajectory or trend, I think the easier they would deal. But something I say to women when I get to speak at WIMBYs and women gatherings is that women might need to do much more in raising the kinds of men that they want their daughters to marry. Women might need to do much more in raising the kinds of men that would not be the monster they met at the office. Because the problem with that whole arrangement, yes, the problem with that whole arrangement is that because the man has been trained in a certain way, he actually subconsciously, sometimes he doesn't even know it, just subconsciously treats female subordinates in a certain way.
Very true. Yeah.
Subconsciously would sit in a board meeting and would give a male, team member, preference over a female team member subconsciously because we have been trained a certain way. I say to women, I say, who are the people who tell a woman, we start counting from the first male child, all the girls you have for us are no children? Who says that? Not men, it's women. Who are the people who go to a woman's home and harass her and, humiliate her for not having a child? It's not men, it's women. So who are the people who are pushing this narrative? It's you guys. So you need to pay more attention and be intentional if you want to turn this tide. For example, no one ever told me as a little boy that my sisters had managerial capacity. That is why when my mother was not at home, we would leave the home in their care. It's managerial capacity. It's managerial thinking. They could manage the home. All I saw was these girls who just were cooking and cleaning. No one told me that when they gave the girl child cook, clean, wash, and all, it's because she is a good multitasker.
Organizational acumen.
Organizational skills. So people need to begin to channel these things in a child. And so the male folk will begin to see the girl differently. If you lived in a home where they said to you, you have to wash 3, you have to wash 3, you begin to teach them equality. So between the man and the woman, you need to pay attention to those things, the experiences that you put before your child that will raise that child. A friend of mine whose father used to beat his mother, and then he would fight his father. And then one day his mother called him and said, you have to forgive your father. If not, you will beat your wife. It didn't make sense to him. But that day, he forgave his father, started trying to love his father. But something happened to him. He went to school, and a girl slapped him in class. And all the boys were like, she's dead today, hailing him. And he didn't do anything. Then they turned and they mocked him. By the end of the day, the little girl went to apologize to him because he did nothing. Now that helped him in realizing that you do not need to resort to violence. And that has changed the kind of person. Not many people have that opportunity to have those kind of conversations, to have those kind of scenarios. But this happened to him as a boy 20-something years ago. He's 34 now. And he would never raise his hand on a woman, despite he saw it in his home for over 3 decades. And so, even many children are growing up in those kind of homes where you've seen your father abuse your mother. You've seen your father treat your mother a certain way. So even though your father is saying something to you, your mother is saying something to you, children learn by what they see.
Always.
And so it's really now, how do we build for the next 20 years? Because many times we want to fix it now. It's not a now thing. How do you have an agenda that says that over the next 20 years, we're going to raise boys that will empower women, that will see women as equal, that will treat women properly, that will just be human beings? When we buy toys, we buy Barbie doll for the girls and give Caterpillar to the boys. We don't allow people choose what they want to be. There are many men who are doing well as hairdressers and things today, who are being celebrated all around the world as chefs. So perhaps we want to have that foundational conversation. How are we raising? Because the man was once a child, and that is where he is formed. That's why they say you cannot teach an old dog new tricks. You need to teach the dog as a puppy.
What's that quote you said? The father of
The man is a child. It's not mine. It's a derivative of something. It's basically that, you know, where we are is the result of where we've come from.
I think it's important because that's, for me, that is our foundational issue, is the fact that a lot of people, and I was watching a short snippet of an interview on Instagram once when Michelle Obama said one of the problems we have is that we're actually raising a lot of women. We're not raising men. We're spending a lot of time passively letting men feel like, so like you said, you know, if you see you know, a daughter is out there, she's cooking, she's cleaning, she's doing things when the mother has gone out, but the guy is doing nothing. He feels like it's okay for me to sit at home and watch TV and play PlayStation while things are going on around me. You're not teaching someone to value the fact that the woman is even doing that.
Just to type quickly what you said now, which means that even my submission now requires the men to partake.
Yeah.
Because if the mothers are teaching the child something and the child is seeing the father do something else, there comes conflict. We tried to do a succession plan in my company recently, and of all the managers that we're promoting to CEOs, only a woman got promoted, and I think there are more men than women on that pipeline, you know. And she has the grit, she has the heart, she has it. At the moment, you know, 3 of the major banks are chaired by women. You know, so we're getting to a point where, you know, I'm not saying that women are better than men. I'm saying that a woman who is bold, courageous, has empathy, has all the things that is required of a woman, and also the things required of a man. A man who is also bold, courageous, and has all the, you know, empathy and all the things that are required, you know, of leadership. So for me, it's simply the fact that, you know, it's all about human beings. You cannot have an arrangement in your own home where your wife loves you enough and knows that this my husband loves to be pampered. He will help me, he will clean it, but you can have your arrangement, you know. It's your arrangement. You can have that, you know. But the truth is, when it comes to the workplace in particular, you've got to realize that it's different. Keep your home to your home. Keep your home where your wife is, you know, whatever roles in your home, keep it there. When you get to the office, where it's about performance, it's about competence, it's about capacity, then let us all go, you know, with clean hands.
one of the questions is not just women in leadership. It is women in leadership in Nigeria leading men. And I think that topic, that title encompasses it, because once they're in your woman's in a position like that and she realizes the nature of men she has around her, and then it is, do I imbibe the biases, the philosophies that they have so that they can respect me as a leader? Do I change them completely? How do I now act? And I think we have examples of women who have entered leadership positions in politics without saying any names, and I feel like they have tried to be similar to the men in their thinking and their operation, and have even sometimes been excessive. And I think being a good...
I see you're uncomfortable, carry on.
Yes. I think being a good leader, many quotes you read this, you surround yourself with not just like-minded people, the smartest people you can find. The people that have that's 101, is the vision, that have a similar vision to you. And that one, you have to be decisive. If it ends up being 60% women, 40% men, or if it's no men at all, that they have to be able to stand for the qualities that you require to get the job done.
It's human issues.
I think, like you said, one of the cause of this, to me, is the home. Because in that situation, you've got a nuclear family, you've got a father and a mother, you need to take the qualities of the father that are positive, the qualities of the mother that are positive, and feed them into both genders so that you're raising well-rounded leaders. Because I think you go out, and if you say women are good at this and men are good at that, and it's stereotyping, but its stereotypes exist because they're largely true, because in certain ways we haven't grown or built leaders that are well-rounded, that have qualities. We have more men that know how to do things in an authoritative manner, and more women that know how to do things in a sensitive manner, as opposed to having men that know when to be sensitive and when to be authoritarian.
First and foremost, I have my manager is female. She's a woman, and the reason for that is because I felt she could always keep the bigger picture at hand. While I was very focused on the career path and where we were trying to go, and which was centered around myself, she could always be empathetic. At the same time, she's assertive and can say that, we need to achieve this. We work well in tandem, and it's because of the qualities that we bring together. And I can't say that a woman is better than a man at leading, or a man is better than a woman. I think the nature of the person has to have these qualities, and they make them a good leader. However, some people exhibit them more than others. Just like it is in guys that are chilling. Some guy shows this, a women, my point is, it's less about gender. I don't think it's really about the gender. I think it's about the qualities and the values of the individual and the path and experiences they've gained across time that make them a good leader.